Welcome to the Dose of Good podcast, where we celebrate good people and organizations working to make the world a better place. It can be easy to get caught up in the bad things going on in the world and forget about the good happening all around us each and every day. I'm your host, Erin, and I want to share these stories with you and give them the attention they deserve. I hope this podcast educates and inspires you and maybe even motivates you to share a dose of good in your community. Now let's get into today's episode. Today's episode for me was a fun one, and I hope it will be fun for you as well. I speak to Nicole Cannan, and she is the founder of Unchartered Tutoring. She'll explain it much better than me, but basically she's giving classes to Title I schools and some other areas where she's basically teaching science, but in the form of art, kind of incorporating the two together and getting kids really interested in science, but also seeing that they can do science and it doesn't have to be a really difficult or scary subject or anything like that. And we get into some hands-on with some slime, and she shows us all kinds of cool things that she uses in her classes. So I hope that you enjoy learning more about Unchartered Tutoring. And they're a newer nonprofit and still kind of getting their feet on the ground. So I hope that you will give them your support. They are looking for new board members. They also need funding to continue doing the work that they do. So please check them out and consider supporting them. But now let's just get into it with Nicole. Today I'm here with Nicole Cannan, the founder of Unchartered Tutoring. Thank you so much for joining me.
I'm excited to be here.
What made you want to start Unchartered Tutoring, and what is the mission?
Yeah, so I'm a biomedical artist. That's like what my degree is in. And I worked in pharmaceuticals for a number of years, mostly radiopharmaceuticals, doing a lot with the informed consent process.
Okay.
And I realized it was inadequate, and I couldn't convince the sponsoring companies of the clinical trials to change anything. So I couldn't fix the big corporations, so I thought I would help kids develop a better scientific understanding. It actually really kind of happened by accident, which no one ever likes hearing, because everyone wants to have a great big plan and jump into it. But I just kept saying yes to things as they happened. I was between jobs in the pharmaceutical industry, as so often happens, and working to stretch my unemployment. So I started tutoring a young man who was very gifted in science, but wanted to round himself out in art for college applications. Mm-hmm. And I worked with them, and he very quickly became very good at art. And his mom was like, well, would you run an after school program? Like, and I was, because she ran a school, and I was like, sure, why not? And then within 2 weeks, I was in a charter school as well, who wanted something very similar. And then within 6 months, I was in all the Title I schools in Manchester.
Oh, wow.
And everything was a combination of art and science. And what I've really discovered the niche is for us is that we make it look like an art project,
Okay.
but the whole time we're teaching science.
Oh, all right.
There are a lot of kids who have been told that they're not good at science. They're not good at math. They can't be scientists. They can't do things that are technical. They don't look like a scientist. They don't come from a background of scientists. They don't have anyone in their family that's a scientist. And it really limits them when they walk into a science classroom.
Sure.
Their older sibling has told them science is hard, and so they walk in with these preconceived notions. And so if we can give them something that is a lot more like what science is when you're actually in the job, which is creative, which is exploration, which is problem solving. Just look at the scientific method, right? The kids get excited and they learn, and they walk into our programs going, oh, I'm not good at science. I don't like science. And then they walk away considering a STEM career.
Yeah. Well, that's great to hear and great to know, because I think often those two subjects are kind of thought of as opposites, like you either have kind of an artist's mind or a scientific mind. And so the fact that you're bringing them together and showing how they can work together and, again, people who or kids who think that they're maybe science isn't for them, kind of looking at it in a different way. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's really more of a modern convention that we've separated art and science.
Okay.
Like you look at like the Renaissance man, right? Where, Leonardo da Vinci was engineering war machines just as much as he was painting portraits,
Yeah.
if not more. So, the Medicis were funding science and art. The two were together in education through the Renaissance. It's a modern convention, I think, developed out of, the education system of siloing subjects, all subjects, where art and science have become separated.
Right.
Where in reality, they're very similar.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that point is being made, because when I think about it, in schools, a lot of times you feel like there's such a focus on STEM and STEM fields, and that's all very important, but they almost, not all schools, but some think like, well, the arts aren't as important and that sort of thing. So again, the fact that you're kind of showing people that, I think, is wonderful. So.
Yeah, engineers have to be able to draw on a whiteboard to communicate a problem with the way a machine is operating, right? That's a drawing skill. That's an art skill.
Yeah.
You have to then, like, also in science, if you can't explain what you're working on, no one's going to want to fund it. No one's going to want to be interested in it. So you have to be able to explain it through science communication, whether it's words or pictures.
Right.
The artists are constantly experimenting. They test two materials together. They test two colors together. And if it works or doesn't work, or if it achieves their objective or not, just in the same way that a scientist does. If you're growing cells in a manufacturing line, like we're doing in the Regen Valley Tech Hub in Manchester, you need to be able to watch for color changes and know that, if pink is showing up, maybe that's a bacteria I need to watch out for.
Yeah.
I can't have that in this sample. We need to stop this manufacturing and test it, right? And figure out what went wrong. All of those things, smell changes, like these are, science uses art all day long and art uses science.
Yeah. How do the classes work, and what sorts of classes do you offer?
In the majority of cases, we're actually working with this is going to get really complicated.
Okay.
Most people don't know like how funding in schools work. But there are certain schools that are designated as Title I. And what that means is about 50% of the population is economically disadvantaged enough that they get lunch assistance. Mm-hmm. And so when, that level is reached, the federal government goes, we need to give this school more funds, because we know that this economic disparity means, the scores and the learning that's happening there is going to be harder to achieve. So there's a program called 21st Century that administers these federal grants that does after school care at the school, right, that where it's happening. So parents don't have to worry about picking up or dropping off kids, because oftentimes in these places, without as much money, parents are working 2 and 3 jobs, on offset schedules and kind of stuff like that. So it needs to be really convenient for the families. And the kids stay, they get homework help to kind of make up some of those losses, because parents are working, they don't have time. And then they bring in programs like ours to make sure learning stays fun. And there's other groups that do this kind of thing. We're the only one that's really science and art focused. Mm-hmm. But we get to go into every Title I school in Manchester through this program.
Okay.
Their funds, however, are constantly being cut. And it's one of the reasons we chose to become a nonprofit. So we were a for-profit. Mostly I knew we need to be a nonprofit one day, but I wanted to move fast and break things and figure it all out before I brought a group of people in that also needed to be involved in the decision making. I wanted to make sure we knew what we were doing and delivering what we said we were delivering. Mm-hmm. And so last spring we got our 501c3 status. And now we can apply for grants. So the schools only have, depending on the year, have like $10,000 to bring us into our program,
Okay.
which is not a lot.
Right. Yeah.
And so, they can only bring us in for like 5 sessions at each school, but we have 8 sessions we could teach. And so we've begun applying for grants to bring us into those programs for free, either extending what they've already paid for or sometimes bringing it in completely for free.
Okay.
So we've been able to work with like the Nature Conservancy and the Merrimack Conservation Partnership to bring in watershed education for the students. Again, all using art. There's sculpture that we're going on tardigrade safaris and drawing what we see in the microscope, and the kids go home with their own microscope. But by applying for those funds, we can then just give away the programming completely for free.
Oh, nice.
Which is what needs to happen because they're so under-resourced.
Sure.
Now, so that means if your student is attending a Title I school and going to a 21st century program, your child might already be in our programming and you might not even know it.
Oh, okay.
Now, then there are some schools like Auburn Village where we're working. They're not Title I designated. That's a pretty wealthy community.
Okay.
And so there we go in, we work with a science teacher, and she lets us use her science room. It's gloriously set up with chemistry tabletops and everything. It's a large room. There's so much cool stuff in there. Miss Rogenbach is really cool. And she just lets us use her classroom, and we do a sign up on our website, and parents then pay for the classes.
Okay.
One of the things we're working on that we've only been around a year doing this as a nonprofit is trying to set up scholarships so that we can scholarship students. Because while it may be a wealthy community, there's always people who don't have as much as the next door neighbor.
Yeah.
So we want to build scholarships for those programs. We also work with like North End Montessori School with preschoolers who are coming into our program during the day. They're giving up one of their recesses, some of their outdoor time, and coming to our class. So parents are paying extra on top of the tuition to have us there and teaching their students.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, they're a blast to work with. Or then like one of the schools, like Franklin High School, contracts with us directly. They have some interesting challenges. Now, they were just selected as New Hampshire School of the Year because of the innovation that's happening there. I give huge kudos to the principal, David Levesque there. They've changed how they're doing things completely. It's phenomenal. And so they're bringing us in because they only have one science teacher for the whole high school.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yes, they're having 60 positions cut again this year. So I don't know what they're going to do. But as we continue to not fund schools are cutting resources, and so we also have a challenge of students are coming in undereducated in the science field, and so they're coming into 9th grade, but more like below grade, right?
Yeah.
Understanding.
Sure.
And so they have the one science teacher with the one science class that the students can take, and then they send them off to community college. But if you have someone who's coming in below grade understanding at 9th grade, they're not ready for a college class.
Right, yeah.
So we're coming in and teaching our programs with totally hands-on, looks like art, giving the students the confidence to be able to approach science, and then they can take the science class in the high school that's at level and realize that science is this creative process. Because most of the time, the kids are smart. They can do it.
Yeah.
They've just got a block in their head.
Yeah.
They really do. And if we can help reduce those emotional stressors by presenting science in a way that's creative and collaborative, then they can actually learn. Because there's a hierarchy, right, in terms of what you can do. Like if you don't have enough food at home, if it's stressful at home, if you have the mental block, if you don't have the mental health to be able to approach a complex subject, you're not going to learn it. That's just, if you're sitting hungry in a classroom, you're not going to learn science.
Right, yeah.
So we do what we can to make sure they're resourced at the school, get them snacks from the guidance counselor, whatever needs to happen, a break, go take a break in the hallway to eat. You don't want to eat in a science room.
Yeah.
But giving them the space to be themselves, but then understand that they can be a scientist too, while still being who they are.
Yeah.
And that seems to be having wild success, as we were just a small itty bitty part of Franklin High School being selected for School of the Year.
Yeah,
So
that's wonderful.
we're very proud of that
Yeah.
little feather in our cap.
Yeah,
Small
yeah,
part,
yeah.
very small part, but very happy to be a part.
Yeah, so I'm just hearing how you are going to all these different schools. So I imagine you just yourself can't do that. So you have staff and
Yes, I
people who
do.
help you, right?
This is the wild part. So it started out, it was just me, and I was just like pulling the art supplies out of my closet, right? Like in my guest room. I'm like, yeah, okay, I can do something with this.
Yeah.
Like, totally, it's just a box sitting in my dining room, right? And then it was like 12 boxes in my dining room. And then we realized I needed like a space. So we set up a whole room, right? We bought a multifamily, and it had like a carriage house off the back.
Oh,
And
okay.
we operated out at 600 square feet for the first 8 years. And very quickly, I realized I needed someone to do my organizing for me.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I brought on a studio person to like pack boxes, and I had to write checklists. And then I was like, what if something happens to me on the way to class? Maybe I should have an assistant in the
Oh,
classroom.
yeah.
And then when I was in all the Title I schools in Manchester, so really quickly, like within 6 months, I realized I needed other teachers teaching at the same time that I was teaching,
Yeah.
because you can't attend them all at the
No,
same
yeah.
time in a very limited window after school. So now I have, usually between 10 and 12 employees working for me, all part-time. I have a studio manager who's, usually doing about 20 hours a week, packing and unpacking the lessons, because we don't do any lessons on site.
Okay.
It would be cool maybe to have a classroom, but really the demographic we're reaching is the one that can't transport students after
Right,
school.
right.
So we go to the school. So all the lessons fit in this bin. We get our little dolly and we bring our bin and our basket in with our cleaning supplies, and we go in, we borrow a classroom, and then we pack it all up and clean the classroom and leave. So it's, and we try to put 2 people in the classroom at every opportunity. So there's a lead teacher and an assistant teacher. And we go from Lowell, Massachusetts to Franklin, New Hampshire,
Wow, yeah.
teaching lessons. Sometimes we're out on the seacoast too, and that's fun.
Yeah.
But our strength seems to be this 93 corridor.
Okay, yeah. So before we go on with further questions, did you want to share some of the stuff you
Yeah,
brought?
I brought goodies because I believe in visual learning
Yeah.
and putting your hands on stuff whenever possible. Now, I can't give your listeners like a hands-on experience, but I can give you a hands-on
Okay.
experience. So the first hands-on experience I'm going to give you right here, and you get to
Sure.
describe it to people, is a selection of slimes.
Okay.
Now, we use slimes in a kind of unique way. The slimes teach things more than just slime. So we do things like put smells in them.
Oh, okay.
And we've done this in some geriatric classes too, to help bring back memories, because
Oh,
smell is
wow,
really
yeah.
strong in helping recall memories. But each one of those slimes has a different smell.
Okay.
And some different properties. Oh, I forgot a magnet. Okay, so you'll just have to explore. Go ahead
Okay.
and tell me what you think
Okay.
you smell with each of those.
Sure. Oh, this one smells nice. It's kind of fresh and somewhat floral a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah,
I'm not good at describing,
Let me
but
remember which one this one is. Oh, that is nice. That is nice. So you get to, it's sticky. Now, the great thing about slime is that you get to use its non-Newtonian properties to clean it up.
oh, nice.
So even if it gets a little sticky on you, you just move it quickly and it picks it back up.
Okay.
So, and this is a really small slime sample. So, yeah, I would say that one's probably like a strawberry shortcake something.
Okay.
Because this is our saliva slime. So you can see those little fruit slices up in there.
Oh, yeah.
And so we get to talk about the kids about the first step of digestion using this
Oh,
slime.
okay.
So they'll notice when we make those yummy smells,
Yeah.
right, that maybe their mouth starts to salivate. And so they
Yeah.
remember that that's the first step of digestion.
Okay. Well, and I love how they're all like kind of pretty in their own way.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. This one's exceptionally sticky. I like sticky slimes because I have fun. And sometimes my day is just making slimes up. So,
yeah.
yeah, that one's particularly sticky. Take a look at that green one.
All
And
right.
now that one, I forgot the black light. I should have brought the black light. That one will fluoresce. That one glows in the dark.
Ooh, this smells like vanilla.
Okay, that's probably our strawberry cupcake. Or
Okay.
not strawberry, our vanilla cupcake.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny how it like, even though it's slime, it's like making me want to eat something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's funny. Oh, yeah, this one's a little more like liquidy.
Yes, they're very sticky.
Yep. Fun. So you not only use these to teach the kids, but then it's also kind of fun to play with and all of that
They
too,
make the slimes themselves.
Oh, they do? Okay.
They make the slime and then they take it home and they get to decide exactly what the smells are
Oh,
or
okay.
what color they're choosing.
Okay.
Sometimes, depending on the lesson, what the kind of viscosity they want out of that slime, depending on which ingredients they mix in.
Okay.
So this one we get to talk about, like chemoluminescence and phospholuminescence and things that glow in the dark.
Okay.
Which they're all very excited to play with.
Yeah, that's cool.
And the next one is actually a ferrous slime. We don't want to say magnetic because it's not magnetic. There's actually steel powder in there.
Oh.
And that iron oxide makes it so that it reacts. And we have to put big glitter in it, otherwise
I was
you don't
going
see
to say,
the
I
glitter.
love that. Ooh. Almost seems a little bit chocolatey.
Yeah, that one's brownie. I put brownie in that one.
Okay. And so what, I guess, I know slime is big with kids and stuff. What goes into I know each one's probably a little bit different, but what goes into making slime?
Yeah, it's glue, and you get to decide is it a
Oh,
clear slime or we would make for our glow in the dark one to make sure enough light gets through it. Along with also, actually, all of these may be clear slimes. Clear glue, school glue.
Okay.
You need a boric acid, so that's the contact solution, and then a salt, the baking soda.
Okay.
And that 3 combination will get you a slime, a real basic.
Okay. And then they just add color or decoration or scent or all of that.
Yes, this is mica powder, so biodegradable glitter.
Okay.
And that's a glow powder.
Okay.
That you can mix into any kind of pigment and make it glow in the dark. And what makes that one black is the iron oxide.
Okay. And when you say it's like a, say, vanilla cupcake or brownie, is that actual brownie mix you're putting in there?
No.
Or, okay.
There's this really great chemistry lab, I don't know what else to call it, called Demeter Fragrances. And they make the strangest perfumes and massage oils.
Okay.
So you can get massage oil that smells like turpentine or black licorice or leather or mildew or earthworm, which the final slime there is our zombie slime.
Oh, okay.
So we teach the kids anatomy using zombies. And the final lesson that they all look forward to is zombie slime.
Oh, all right.
Where we talk about decomposition.
You can't see it here, but it's got what look like bones and body parts and skeletons all inside it. So
yes, we put magic noodles in them so they decompose as they play with it. We put little worms in it.
Yeah.
Glow in the dark worms. We put a rubberized skeleton, the stretchy things like you might have gotten out of a quarter machine at the grocery store kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they love this slime.
Oh, that's
so
so fun.
we have a variety of different decomp smells that we use.
I was going to say this one's not as nice as the other ones.
There's earthworm, there's mildew,
but it does smell kind of earthy.
Yeah. So they're still pleasant because they are a perfume chemistry type company, but it's reminiscence or petrichor, right? That smell after the rain. So that one's a big hit with the kids.
Oh, I love that. Well, I appreciate all of this because it's giving me a better understanding, but it's also making me see how I could see how for not just kids, anybody, this would be really fun, a fun way of learning,
Yes,
So.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And then, we'll do things like using a cinnamon-based dough to learn about, these are different famous artists.
Okay.
I have Vincent van Gogh here. We've bitten his ear
Oh, there you go.
off. Cindy Sherman. And then they can make an artist that they're learning about all on these cookies. And then we do the same with scientists. Her dresses started. They tend to fall apart. Here's one a student chose to make me.
Oh, I love it.
Here we go. But so these are the artists and scientists. And then we also do the same with anatomy. So here you can make a zombie a gingerbread cookie or just make a stomach, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or a liver.
Okay.
Or, just learn about, chewing and the mouth. That's
There
the
you
beginning of
go.
digestion. And then we have a large intestine here.
Oh, lovely.
So it smells great. You should definitely take a whiff of that because it's a dough made out of cinnamon.
Oh, that is very cinnamon, yes.
Yes, and my
Yes,
studio
that's
generally
nice.
smells like that.
Does it?
So
Okay.
it's really nice.
Hey, that's a good way to have your studio smell, so.
Yes, we constantly have this dough in production.
Oh, nice.
But it's important that kids, like, you go to a museum. Now, the Sea Science Center is fantastic, right? Everything there is geared towards kids. But you go to something else where you might see specimens and you never get to touch them. So we bring in specimens that the students can actually touch, where this
Okay.
is a canine skull.
Oh, wow.
Here we have crinoid fossils, an ammonite, right?
Okay.
And they're glorious, and the kids can touch them. So you tell them this is a fossil from the time of the dinosaurs, and they can touch it, and that changes things.
Yeah,
for
because
them.
that makes sense, because usually when you go to places, it's behind glass or that kind of thing. And here it's nice they can touch and feel and all of that.
Yeah,
So.
we have bugs in little preserved balls that they can touch and play with.
Oh,
And then we have our specimens that are a little more, protected, preserved, but they can hold it and get really close to it. So I've got
Yeah.
butterflies, I've got beetles, and I've
Oh, I
got
love
moths.
that.
So they can get up real close and see the details. And when we can, we bring in microscopes to the classroom, like digital microscopes project on a screen. And then for our summer camps, we bring in a big, nice microscope. So whenever those are happening, we have a little more, because the microscopes are kind of tough to transport.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But
that makes sense.
we're constantly bringing in things. Here's more things, like we also do like a resin class where we teach kids about exothermic reactions and the heat that it produces, and they learn to make molds. Resin is used a lot in science, I believe, because you got to make your custom fixtures and all that kind of stuff. So little fake crystals, they love making
Yeah,
that.
that's fun. They're pretty too.
And then, so this is a fun lesson in our zombies class where we teach them about the bones of the skull. And so what we've done is they write the bones and where they are on the inside. So every time they put it up to their face, they're reminded of where the bones are in their face. And then they get to decorate it along, the Day of the Dead sugar skull kind of motif. So they get a little bit of a cultural thing there too. But yeah, so little masks. We do a lot of building and launching of rockets. This is our preschool rockets that we make out of foam. We also do a paper rocket with Air Rocket Works, these air launchers that just use compressed air. So here's our teacher sample, and this was made by an actual preschooler.
Oh, I love that. This is just a great way to learn. I feel like kids will remember it better and absorb it better and all of that. I mean, I'll be honest, science was not my favorite subject. And if I had learned it this way, I feel like I would have done a lot better. So,
Yeah. We teach about pixels on screens using
nice.
the perler beads. This was a project. It turned out kind of lovely. It kind of fell apart, you can see, but at the same time, the falling apart was lovely.
Yeah.
And we use cyanotype to talk about chemical reactions and protophotography processes.
Okay.
To create, fabric pieces. We use dyes and resist to talk about chemistry. This is like a great big tie-dyed thing we made in one of our earliest summer camps.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So everything teaches just various concepts, like how many kids get to go and like hold a model hand.
Yeah.
And then we teach them about X-rays and what the bones in their hands look like. Because
Okay.
kids get really frustrated sometimes when you're teaching them to write and draw, but they don't even realize that their hands aren't fully formed yet, like all the bones in their
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah.
So you get to show them what their hands look like, and we use torn paper to describe that anatomy.
That's so cool.
We learn some more, chemistry and physics, talking about the viscosity of paint. We make these giant pendulums and drop paint, and you can see how differently the paint reacts depending on what they've mixed into it to control the viscosity.
Yeah.
And it makes art. And look, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, definitely. I love it.
And so, each one is different depending on what the student did.
Yeah.
All about viscosity,
Yeah.
which then they get to learn about density and layering liquids in the next lesson. So it all builds, and everything is just delightful. Here's a spine model that we make,
Oh, nice.
talking about the nerves and how the discs, help us move and how our backs can be healthy. We do a lesson about galaxies using tie-dye pillowcases. So That's one. So we can talk about how a spiral galaxy or different things, and we teach them to tie-dye and how to make that spiral.
That's so fun.
Yeah, it's pretty constant. Like my bag or my basket here never stops. We also like to fling paint at things when we can, so we make little catapults. We learn about cephalopods we have a mythical creatures series where we talk about how people back in the day didn't know things, and so we assigned characteristics to them based on oftentimes fear, right? So we would say the Kraken would take down your ship, right?
Right.
Like we had these big giant sea monsters, but now we know about the colossal squid whose eyes are the size of dinner plates and that they live in the deep Marianas Trench, and kids love the Marianas Trench.
Do they?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah. The Marianas Trench is a hot topic for kids.
Okay.
So you can talk about that, or you can talk about mermaids and talk about manatees or dolphins. And how, after you've been at sea for a long time without enough, vitamin C, your brain might be a little making things up for you.
Right.
And then, we can talk about Yetis or Bigfoot and how easy it is to replicate a little footprint with using your hand and sand and plaster casting. So, but that, as we move on in science, right, as we learn things, these scary things become described, and we don't have to be scary about them anymore.
Right.
Scary about them. We don't have to be scared of them
Sure.
anymore. And then we end the lesson with like an alien. That's kind of where we are. We don't know. Do they exist? Don't they exist? Right. How do we know? What do we know?
Yeah.
And we use big long balloons, and we sculpt, like you make a balloon dog, but we sculpt strange creatures of what the alien could look like.
Oh, cool.
Give them eyeballs or don't give them eyeballs, right? Like, what do you think an alien could have evolved as? So that when we meet them one day, we won't be scared because we'll have learned from past experiences like colossal squids. So, yeah.
That's great. A great lesson that they don't need to be scared of things that they don't know fully about or don't have a full understanding of. So that's awesome.
And unfortunately, really cool programming like this tends to be reserved for kids who have a lot. And so for us, being able to go into Title I programs through grants and donations is imperative to I think a really successful future just for the community and for people being able to make their own decisions about their own bodies and health. A lot of times the kids we're working with also too, like one of the reasons we give them that anatomy lesson is they're going into the doctor's appointments, whether this should or shouldn't be happening, but the doctor's appointments for their parents or their siblings, and having to translate things and discuss hard subjects. So making sure we're reaching kids whose English is their second language, and being able to navigate the world is really important. So just resourcing kids to be able to be independent, make their own choices, and discover that science isn't this secretive thing that's only for smart kids.
Right.
Smart kids. Resourced kids that maybe we can change that. Maybe they'll pursue a STEM career. Have a sustainable family supporting wage and have independence and stability.
I think that's really important, but also I'm glad you brought up the fact because that's an area I wouldn't have thought about. But just something like going to the doctors, making that more understandable for them and probably a little less scary and all of that kind of thing. So
Absolutely.
Well, I want to make sure I give you those back.
Yes.
So, and so you kind of already answered one of my curiosities through all of this, because I was thinking, like, if somebody thinks they're not good at art or not good at science, really, I think they just have to be in one of these classes and they'll figure out that, I can do this. So,
100%. Really, yes, can I draw an incredibly detailed, anything beautiful? Yes, I can, because I've spent hours and hours practicing.
Right.
Am I good at science? Do I know a lot? Yeah, because I've spent a lot of time reading and experimenting and learning about science.
Right.
It's all about just putting time into it. And that time really comes from resources.
Yeah. Well, and I think, too, for kids, they might not know all the areas that they could go into for science, because I think people think like, oh, a doctor or a medical field or something like that. But there's the whole cosmetics world. There's just so many avenues with science that you could go into. So
Oh, yeah, you know, geology and study watersheds, and
Yeah.
you can save trees and oysters, and I mean ag science, like veterinarian care.
Yeah.
And it's not all college bound either.
Right.
Like especially with some of the stuff we're talking about, advanced manufacturing, you know, coming to Manchester, and Manchester's scores in science are quite poor. We score
Okay.
lower than our students are scoring 50% lower than the rest of the state.
Okay.
So we need to do a lot for science, especially because we're hinging our economy on this regenerative medicine that's coming through Army and DECA and you know, Sophie Biosciences. Like all of these things are happening. United Therapeutics, they're all happening in Manchester, and they want to hire here, right?
Yeah.
But if our kids are scoring poorly on science, they're not going to self-select into that kind of economy.
Right.
Whether it's, you know, starting their own business to run a lawn service, or whether it's going to be actually working on those lines as a manufacturing tech. Because they don't have a science identity right now, and they're self-selecting out well before even middle school, self-selecting out of science careers. And they're, you know, I know there's a lot of work going on to make sure that tech schools are preparing students without having to go to college, right, to be able to engage in that economy, in that workforce. But we're still seeing that those selections are being made by resourced people instead of people who could really use the helping hand up. Just the access to the idea that they could be a scientist.
Yeah. Well, hopefully by you going in and introducing this stuff, that will be one way to help. But hopefully it will also maybe get the schools thinking about the different ways of teaching and offering more opportunities like this. I know they personally, financially can't do it, but yeah, just hopefully, you know, they can get the help that they need, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
the schools are really under-resourced, and there's a lot of teachers who would be doing this if they could.
Yeah.
But like, I know that the Manchester schools have budgeted $0 for art supplies.
Oh gosh.
So they have art teachers, they have art departments, they have the art classrooms, but then I don't know how I don't know how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Teachers go, you know, door to door to businesses asking them to sponsor their supplies.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a challenging time for education for sure.
Yeah.
But by getting grants and getting people invested in programs like ours, we can bring it back into the schools through alternative methods.
Right. Sure.
So that's where, our, fundraising and grants really are very, very important.
Yeah. Well, hopefully people will hear this and want to help out, because that would be great.
No,
so.
we're looking to grow our board right now. So we
Okay.
have we currently have what's mostly our founding board. So now it's time to start bringing in people that are really outside of my usual network, right? Let's face it, if I built a board and it's mostly the people I know. Right?
Yeah. I think that's how it works with most startups. Yeah.
But now it's getting to be time where if we want to grow, I need to have leadership that's helping direct me outside of my own reach, because I'm only one person.
Right.
And I want to reach more into like Londonderry schools and into dairy schools.
Yeah.
And we have a program proposed with Regional Economic Development Center for the SEDS program that hoping for funding from Congress to kind of make that happen. But I'm going to need board members then that are like connected in those communities who can help us. And actually, one of the things I really want to do, so right now we're just doing like the online fundraising of like NH Gives, which was just last week. And that was phenomenal. We raised $6,000. And then like Giving Tuesday, right after Thanksgiving. Those are really big fundraising events for us. But the what we want to do, here's my daydream, is we want to do a fundraiser that's Be a Kid for a Day, where we run the programs and adults come. We have a bar, or not kids, the adults come, they can get the drinks, they can sit down and do the activities that they see their kids doing all the time.
Yeah.
And we can run a fundraiser that way, like an
Yeah.
in-person thing. Like the YWCA has said they'd host it for us. But what I need is a board member who can come and just run with that idea. Because like we have the supports. We can make it happen. I'm just stretched way too thin.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Completely understandable. Yeah.
I am everywhere right now. So I would love to find a board member who just wants to throw a party for people, like a casual one. Like I'm not talking a gala. I want people to come in from their working in the yard clothes and sit down and make a slime or launch a rocket, build and launch a rocket.
Yeah.
And we'll have like prizes, like whoever's rocket goes the highest or the furthest or hits the target most accurately, right? They win a prize. And we've got ideas. I just need someone to join our board and take the idea and run with it. We've got it support. Like my staff can run the events. I just need some additional leadership on our board. We're growing, and our board needs to grow.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that up then, because I usually ask about like volunteer opportunities, but it's sounding like board members are really what you need, and someone in particular to hopefully make this event happen, because it sounds like it would be a great, very successful event. But again, you need someone with the time to put it all together. So
yes. And I've got a fantastic board, and they've been so helpful as we've written our founding documents and written our first strategic plans and all of that kind of stuff. Like they're working hard. It's just that we kind of need to grow outside of the 6 people, that are running it now, because we're growing. We just moved into our first commercial space out of my garage, basically the carriage house that was, part of our very old Victorian multifamily that we're still renovating, but it's fine. It's a lot of work, but that's what I do on weekends. So we've moved into our first commercial space because we needed to. It was just, we were having to move 11 boxes to get to the one box that we needed with the supplies. So we need to be able to fundraise so we can handle that. Make that happen.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I hope that somebody hears this and wants to either donate or get involved by, joining the board or that sort of thing.
Yes.
So, and I bet there's somebody out, because I think people are always looking for opportunities of ways to help, and this seems like a great way to do that and to be giving back to future generations and all of that stuff.
Yeah, because the kids are where it's at, man. They're going to lead us in just a few years.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So we need to give them the resources so they can do a good job.
Definitely. Is there anything else that maybe we didn't cover that you want people to know about Uncharted?
Oh, there's so much. I'll send you a link for Zephy. That's where people can donate.
Yes.
It's super easy. I'm excited about the summer camps that we just ran with the Sea Science Center. It's our first year partnering with the Sea Science Center this way. But not only did we run our 4 summer camps that we run each summer at the Sea Science Center, but we discovered through partnership and collaboration that the Sea Science Center and Uncharted had the same coin problem, but different sides.
Oh, okay.
So they've been able, they run their summer camps, but then they have to hire seasonal workers to staff those summer camps.
Okay.
Which isn't what they really wanted to be doing. They wanted people who were invested in kids, who want to be around all the time. And it's hard to do that for seasonal workers.
Right.
And then I have lots of work in the school year for my people for all this after school stuff. But then we have our 4 summer camps, and that's it. And that needs 2 staff members. But I've got 10 to 12 people that then don't have work.
Yeah.
So we're staffing the Sea Science Center's camps this year.
Oh, great.
So when this comes out, I'm sure we'll have learned a lot and be looking forward to how to improve it for next year.
Yeah.
But
I love that, though, that you both kind of saw a need, and now collaborating, you're both filling that need for each other. So.
We are. And that's what I see a lot of nonprofits doing right now as federal grants are cut and as funding is very much disappearing. We're finding more and more ways to collaborate and work together, which is fantastic. It's still challenging, but we're being able to learn and solve each other's problems in a collaborative fashion, which is just so cool. And I'm just so honored to be part of the Sea Science Center and part of that ecosystem. And I don't know, feels like the big time for us.
Yeah. That's exciting. I know. I hope to get there this summer. I have a 2-year-old, and I think that he would just enjoy exploring. So
Yes.
hopefully we can get there with him this summer.
You definitely have to go. It's just the best resource.
Yeah. So I just have a few final questions that I like to ask everybody. The first is, can you share a story of someone whose life has been transformed by your work?
Yeah, right now it's a couple of someones that I'm watching right now. So, we really got our heavy start around, 2017, 2018. And now I'm seeing some of the kids that I first started with that were like young elementary students. They're graduating high school right now, and the vast majority of them have chosen to go to school for STEM careers.
Oh, wow.
And I feel like we've had a part in that.
Yeah.
And that's invigorating.
Yeah.
Seeing them going off, making their choices for a life that they're going to go and just totally own. I'm so excited for that.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing kids like some of them are just getting ready to go to high school for the first time, right? And so they're having to make choices that are going to affect their opportunities after high school, right? And so I have this one student who I've been working with for about 5 years who's he's got a lot of ADD, he struggles with high-tech things, struggles with reading, but he's realized that he can be a scientist by being an EMS provider.
Oh, wow.
So he realizes that the high, adrenaline environment is a good environment for him, keeps him constantly thinking and changing, and that because it's hands-on science, he's going to thrive. And so he's choosing to go to a tech school to get EMS certification and then firefighting, which again includes a lot of science.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of where he's heading. And then I've got a younger student who I've been working with since he was like preschool. He's like 9 or 10 now, and he's realized that sidewalks and bike lanes are really important to him. So he's working really hard to become engaged in the city he's just moved to, and actually has spoken in front of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen asking for sidewalks and bike lanes to be maintained. And he's going to community events that are intended for adults, but talking about children's issues, like how do we get to playgrounds, how do we get to safe family spaces, and he's giving his opinions at these things. So I'm really excited to see that growth too. So when you work with kids, there's just so many places where you can see the positive changes and growth and impact.
Yeah.
And just the world opening up for those kids.
Yeah, I love those stories because it shows not only that they grew a love and interest in science, but that they were able to find the path that worked for them. So like the student that wants to do EMS, and he found that would be a good fit for him in a way to be able to do science that worked for him. I just love that. So,
I'm really excited to see him grow up.
Yeah. And then the next question is if you can recommend another nonprofit or just an individual doing great things in their community that you think would be a good future guest.
Yeah, I've thought hard about this. So the areas I'm always advocating for are science, art, and disability.
Okay.
It intersects in the work that I'm doing because our work, includes children with disabilities from the start because we've just redone how we educate.
Yeah.
And I have disabilities. So Louis Esposito at Able NH is doing a lot right now for kids in education, particularly kids with disabilities. There are some choices being made that might not be the most beneficial, and he's all out combating some of these hard conversations.
Good. Yeah.
And then, of course, I'm a big fan of the Sea Science Center. So
Yes.
Shayna, and the executive director there, I don't know when she sleeps. She's doing so much for science education in all of New Hampshire right now.
Okay.
And then Cecilia Ulambari at Positive Street Art is really leading a group of individuals in making murals and bringing art to communities that are often overlooked.
Okay.
And I just love it.
Yeah.
They have their gallery space in Nashua, and they're constantly bringing in marginalized communities to make sure their voices are heard, as well as getting murals out there in the world that are representing walks of life that aren't always shown
Yeah.
and need to be,
Yeah. Yeah.
that are beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful pieces of art.
Well, those all sound like great people that I'd love to have all of them on.
Yeah, I'll make introductions.
And I'm glad you mentioned, because I was familiar with Able in the past, but for some reason I thought they only worked with seniors. So knowing that they're working with kids as well is awesome.
Yeah,
So,
they've done a lot. They've got these great they've got a lot of leadership happening.
Okay.
And it's leadership led by people with disabilities. So they have like get-togethers for queer people with disabilities online, or the immune compromised, and they're doing a lot of like advocating on the state level and the city level to make sure the needs of people with disabilities aren't being overlooked.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great. I'll definitely reach out to all of them. So thank you.
Yes.
And then the last question, what does kindness mean to you? And can you share an example of kindness that you've either personally experienced or just witnessed happening?
Yeah, I thought long and hard about this because I felt like my definition was just too simple, but it's doing something for someone else without expecting anything in return. And I'm honestly, my teachers are doing it all the time. And I keep, and it's hard too as the boss. You want to be like, preserve your energy. I don't want you to burn out. But at the same time, like Felipe and Shauna went and showed up at, so they've been working in Franklin High School with the students there. And a lot of time these kids are pushed aside by leadership, not necessarily leadership at Franklin, but other people have just kind of dismissed them as lost causes. But they are there and working with those kids, and they see the potential in each and every one of those kids. And they went to the grocery store where one of those kids' parents worked, and went and told that parent just how wonderful their student was, and made her cry out of joy at hearing positive stories about her child from the classroom. And that kind of above and beyond, and letting that parent know that their kid is cared for, and that their kid has so many positive traits.
Yeah.
That's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time, every day. I know it does. Like, my teachers are going above and beyond, and going to like volleyball games for the students, or a musical recital, or just being invested, even though they're the teacher that comes in, once a week for 6 or 8 weeks. But sometimes that one little investment lets that kid know that they're worth something.
Yeah. I love that for so many reasons. One, just letting that mother know something positive about her child, especially if she's hearing a lot of negative things from different leadership positions or that sort of thing. And just the fact, again, that they're taking that extra time to reach out. And also, like you said, these kids knowing that they have someone who believes in them and cares about them, because oftentimes, too often, there's kids who just don't have that. So, yeah.
We just, and that's one of the things about the people that work for me. Of course, I'm incredibly biased. I know it, but they're just the best people on the planet.
Yeah.
Felipe loves every person he meets, but particularly the kids that he's leading. He every single one of them has a story, and he wants to hear it. He wants them to know that they are loved in the deepest way possible.
Yeah.
And these kids, they'll walk down the high school, hallway with Felipe standing outside the door, and they'll shout, "I love you."
Aww.
And that's not, there's not a kid who would do that. And knowing that student feels comfortable expressing that emotion and expressing that feeling in front of others, to a teacher
Yeah.
who are so often not cool, right?
Right.
We're adults. We don't know anything. And it's true that they know everything. The
Yeah,
teenagers,
yeah,
they know
yeah.
everything. And we just got to let them express it and explore their everything. I just, that kindness and beauty happens every day in one of our classrooms. You know what I mean? And I know it. I'm just not there to see it as much anymore because I have to like sit behind the desk
Right,
and make schedules and meetings and find donors and that kind of stuff. But that investment that my people have chosen to do well above and beyond their jobs is the kindness that gets me through each week.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I think it's really important to hear, and again, just why I love doing this podcast, because it lets people know about the good and the kind things going on in the world. And there is so much of it. It's just people don't hear about it. You hear all the bad stuff, and there really is so much good, and I think more people should know about it. So.
Scary news sells, right?
Right, exactly, yeah. So, but thank you so much for being here today, and I hope that people will check out Unchartered and get involved in some way.
Yeah,
so.
Reach out to me. If you send an email through that website, it's coming straight to me.
Oh, great. Okay.
Maybe that should change one day, but not yet. Not yet.
Yeah.
I got to know everything and everyone that's going on.
Yeah.
But thank you for having me. I
you're
love
welcome.
talking about what we do. I'm just so proud of it and love my people so much.
I hope that you enjoyed today's episode and learned something. I know I certainly did, and I think it's great work that Amber Nicole and her team are doing. And as I said in the beginning, I hope that you will check them out. I will have all of their links below in the description. I hope that they are able to reach and help even more kids. And as always, follow Dose of Good Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe on YouTube as well as where you listen to podcasts. If you could leave a rating and review there as well, that would help me out so much to get more people to find the podcast, to not only have a dose of good in their day, but to learn about these incredible organizations that are doing very important work in the state and doing it all amidst funding for these types of programs just being cut and cut. Please help support them by sharing the podcast. And you can send me an email at doseofgoodpodcast@gmail.com. Send me your thoughts, your feedback, ideas for future episodes, or just what you've been doing to make the world a better place. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.